Hey guys, Kamina the coach here. I am admittedly not in the best position to do a video because I'm sitting in bed, number one. And number two, there's some heavy construction going on out the window. So welcome back if you're a follower, and if not, my name is Kamina the coach and I've been working and living abroad for over a decade. I'm an education professional, healer, coach, energy worker, and I work overseas as an education professional, not merely an ESL teacher, currently in my 9th country in Baghdad, Iraq, but right now in Sicily, Italy. In 2020, I moved back to the United States to aggressively attack some early childhood trauma and adoption trauma. And in September of 2022, moved back abroad. So you will find a mixture of videos on this channel about working and living abroad, how to live just better, happier, more whole life, understanding yourself, understanding other people, addressing early childhood trauma, and my journey addressing adoption trauma. So you'll find a really mixed bag on this channel. So I am a transracial, late discovery, Black adoptee. So while I do identify first as a Black American, at the end of the day, I really am almost fully half Sicilian. And the reason why I tend to, especially now that I'm in Sicily, tend to say Sicilian over Italian is because, well, Sicily is a very different place than mainland Italy. So anyways, so the point of this video is I did another video about coming here and about why I seek so seriously to understand where I've come from, because as an adoptee, so I'm a transracial adoptee. I was adopted by white Americans, relatively racist white Americans, and I've been on my own since I was 14. They tried to pass me off as white for a lot of my life and didn't expose me to my background and didn't tell me I was adopted. I didn't find out I was adopted until I was 32, quite a shock. If you can't imagine, it's horribly detrimental, and no one should do that to a child. A child should be told they're adopted right from the very beginning. So I'm 44 now, found out at 32 that I was adopted, and didn't start seeking out my background until 2021. And I think that that was a big year of discovery for a lot of us. COVID forced a lot of people's hands, so to speak. I've been working and living abroad for a long time at that point, but though I don't particularly follow any one religion, I find there are nuggets of truth in all of it. And there's a Buddhist saying that says, wherever you go, there you are. And I think that a lot of my time overseas had been me running from myself. And during COVID, it kind of forced me to sit still with myself. And again, sorry for that background noise. There's nothing I can do about it. I think COVID forced me, as it forced a lot of people, to sit still and sit with my stuff and really begin to look at what my source of discomfort was. And I think that if you're moving enough and if you're self-soothing enough, it's easy to ignore or not even be aware that there is some underlying pain there. So 2021 was a really hard year of discovery. I did a DNA test and found both sides of my biological family. And for me, it's been really important because, well, finding my father, who had passed away before I found him, but finding his story looking at his background, before I even met any of his family, looking at his background was so eye-opening to me. Then understand that he was an outside child, and looking at how he kind of remained a loner and outside of his family, even though he comes from a family of 8. He was largely away from the family and kind of a stranger to them for most of his life, and really involved in unfavorable things, an attempt to self-soothe. He was in the war, he was a Marine, and not being able to escape that kind of stuff as well. I think that he, without actively making the choice, still made the choice to end his life. Out of, respect for his memory, I won't go any further into it than that. But it was powerful to me because I saw so much of myself in his story, and it was eye-opening, kind of a gift that he gave me from the grave, that I needed to address this stuff or I was going to go the same way. Wow, that is loud. Recognizing that if I didn't address the trauma that I was self-soothing in unhealthy ways, that I could potentially end up the same way that he did. He was very young when he died, and he just, in general, just hadn't been a happy person. You could tell. And, when I talked to my sister, I could tell, he wasn't the type of father to her that she deserved, or to my brothers. Because he couldn't be, because he hadn't addressed the things that he needed to address. So that was really important, and so I am going to go visit with that side of the family soon. But while I'm working on this part, in this part of the world, I decided that I would come visit the other side of my family. Not my family, so to speak, but like I said, I am half Sicilian. So I'm currently in Palermo, Sicily. And it's been magical. I don't really have words to describe it. If you listen to adoptee stories, you will often hear them describe it as surreal to meet their biological family. I don't know if I'll ever have a desire to meet my biological mother. This may be as close as I ever come to meeting her. She is not directly from Sicily, nor her father, but her grandfather immigrated to the United States on the boat when he was 18 or 19, I believe, with his wife, also from here. And so the moment the plane landed, I could feel the connection to this land. And so I often say Black American because we are hundreds of years removed from Africa. And though we still have a lot of traditions that we've carried on because we've been kept largely outside of society, or whatever the reasons are, whatever, we still have a lot of African-based traditions. We're hundreds of years removed from Africa. And my interactions with Africans, to be honest, are not always the most pleasant experiences. And there's not a part of me that's drawn, so I'm just over a third Nigerian, and all the things that African Americans are, Mali, I have some Mali and Benin, and all of those Western African countries. The largest portion is Nigeria, and I've had Nigerians tell me Nigeria is not a place that you want to visit if you're not with a Nigerian. And again, to be honest, it's not really someplace I've ever had a desire to go. Italy has always kind of silently whispered to me, but not really. And so understanding more about Sicily. So because of the positioning of Sicily, this is a place that has been occupied and colonized many, many times by the Romans, the Spaniards, the Moors, the Arabs, and it is, while fascinating, you can imagine the trauma that runs through these people's veins, the epigenetics, the things that are passed through our genes. And then when Italians went to the United States, when they immigrated to the United States, they were also not treated well. It took several generations before they were just considered white Americans. But when Italians first went to the United States, they weren't treated well there as well. And then to layer on top of that my ancestors were Sicilian, so even inside of Italy, not treated well. Sicilians not even considered Italian because so close to northern Africa, and you can see that influence here in the hair. Lots and lots of curly haired people here. I wasn't sure if I would come here and look like the people here. I don't. The only resemblance I see is lots of curly hair. There is a lot of curly hair here, which is really kind of cool. I mean, a lot of curly hair. Much bigger than mine, but lots and lots of natural curls here. So it's not really about seeing myself here, but it really is a feeling, understanding the history and leaning into the history as I walk the streets and as I look at the historical markers and as I talk with locals, really feeling and understanding why for so many years. Now, so there's the adoption trauma part, but then there's also the part of just the amount of trauma-filled blood that I have coursing through my veins. The ancestry of slavery and colonization mixed together. So colonization here in Sicily that my ancestors faced, and the prejudice here, because this was a native space as well. And then they discovered it and conquered and mixed with the local people, the natives. So this was a largely indigenous space as well, but you can see the washing, the whitewashing of that as well. When you meet Sicilians, a lot of the very white Sicilians versus some of the darker skinned, and I've met a rainbow of them, which is also very similar to Africans, the rainbow of colors, but here it's largely because of colonization. So being here, and this, it's very interesting, this is my history, and it feels very surreal to say that. Start twitching as I say that. This is my history too. And it just really helps me to understand where this innate kind of fire in my blood comes from. And justifiably so, I think. Understandably, to be a little edgy as a Black woman, and then, as you know, having the Sicilian blood running through my veins as well. I don't see it. Like, I don't see I don't physically look like these people. But as I watch them move and I watch their mannerisms, I'm like, it's very interesting to see how much of it is in me, even though I don't really look like the people. And in over a decade of living abroad, filling a passport with places, all the places I've been, this has hands down been the most spectacular vacation of my life. again, I just have to say surreal. There's something special, there's something magical about being here, and I don't think that other people would feel this way unless they have the connection to the people similarly, same way that I do. I could be wrong. I know that people do love Italy and Spain, but I don't know if it would be the same experience. I definitely haven't had this type of experience anywhere else. I am staying in the old historical center in a B&B. I've never stayed in a B&B before. As you can see, my surroundings, a wrought iron bed, very traditional feel. My room is in the historical heart of Sicily in Palermo, and walking down the streets feels like walking back in time. This is more, I guess, directed, at international adoptees contemplating going back to where they were adopted from. I think that there aren't words for how important it is. I am not Sicilian. I am not Italian. I am not African. I am fully aligned and fully see myself in Black America, but I'm also not that. Let's be quite honest. I'm none of these things, and adoption has done that to me, and being estranged from families I didn't belong to has done that to me. I don't feel any allegiance to the United States. I feel some allegiance to my Black American culture, but it's not even really mine because I wasn't raised in that culture, although I do feel allegiance and deeply tied to my pro-Blackness. Being here makes me understand how much it isn't mine, how much this is not mine, though it is. It's a very strange kind of purgatory type feeling. A person without a land, without a home. It's without a people, even. And, understanding my spiritual purpose and understanding why I'm here to guide and heal and lead people. Understanding that not having ties to the land and the people is very important to be able to do my job and fulfill my purpose well. But it is a very, this untethered sense of kind of floating out in the stratosphere. It's very interesting, but I think it is very important to understand why you do the things you do. It helps you to give yourself more grace and not feel like there's something wrong with you or something broken with you. Understanding that this comes from a lineage, that it comes from DNA, that it comes from genetics, and that by working on that, you can even, heal backwards and heal forwards, even if you don't have any children. And though healing is not a magic wand, it's never something that's just done. But by working on and addressing and looking squarely in the face and the pain of my people on both sides, that I'm giving this gift to my ancestors and to those who will come before me, the gift of acceptance and love and forgiveness and gratitude and mourning for the pain that they suffered and still suffer. It's important. I have a friend who's in China now who's already grieving the idea of leaving China. She's a Chinese American. She's a transracial adoptee. I'll say that. I'm an American transracial adoptee adopted from China, and she's in China now grieving the idea of leaving China because it's been something very magical to her. Now, can I promise magic to everyone? I absolutely can't. But I do think that it's important, just like reunion is important. Is it easy? Absolutely not, or at least it wasn't for me. But I do think that it was important for my journey and for just recognition, understanding. And just understanding doesn't always cause peace, but it helps. So that's really all I have to say. You can never go home. There's no home to go to. Really, your home is here. So it's really about finding that peace and that space inside of you. So there's no going home. This isn't my home. The United States isn't my home. There's no home to go to. But it's good. It's good to feel it, to see it, to study it. It's good. So I'm honored to have done this video for you from Palermo, Sicily. I can't wait to go back and watch this year, 2 years, 3 years from now and like see all this, because it's just been magical. There's really no other words for it. So, oh, and before I go, I will say that I walked the catacombs yesterday, underground cemetery of mummies, and it was just surreal. It really was. It was surreal. Powerful. This has just been a powerful experience. I highly recommend that you go visit your places of origin, even if you're not adopted. Go visit your places of origin and see if you feel it. Maybe you won't, but I highly recommend it, especially if you're a sensitive person. I think that you probably will. So I'll go ahead and leave it there. My name is Kamina the Coach, and as always, sending you love, light, peace, and joy. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.